The Chicago Bears 2023 training camp is over and in the books. Starting next week, the Bears go to their regular season practice routine, and practices are not open to media, and we won't get many updates on what happens other than media members giving their recaps after practice. So in this video, I want to go over a couple things that we saw from training camp that we liked, a couple things we didn't like, a couple head scratchers. First and foremost, Chase Claypool started out as the hero of training camp. He went on like a week or two stretch where every single day he was the hot topic of practice, but then he got a hamstring injury and has been out for a week. We're still not sure when he will return. So that's one of those up and down things where it's like you saw what you really liked to see from Chase Claypool on a contract year. He showed that he can be a reliable target for Justin Fields during that 2-week stretch. But it's like, wow, how long is he going to be out for? Is he going to be ready for week 1? We're not sure. So that's going to be something to keep an eye on. To me, Chase Claypool is a player who, when he is on the field, he's going to be a good player. It's the off the field stuff that kind of keeps getting in the way of him playing on the field. So hopefully he can get back on the field and get back to dominating defenses like he was during training camp. DJ Moore was the overall hero of training camp because he went all the way through up until preseason games, all the way through the joint practices. He continued to dominate from start to finish, making one-handed grabs, amazing routes, contested catches, getting wide open, breaking guys' ankles. I mean, DJ Moore did it all. He showed why he's a bona fide number 1 wide receiver in the NFL, and reporters said multiple times he even exceeded their expectations. When the Bears traded for him, everyone knew that he was going to be a number 1 wide receiver and that he'd at least be a top 20-ish wide receiver in the NFL. But so far in camp, DJ Moore is looking even better than we expected. Hopefully he has one of those Stephon Diggs, AJ Brown type jumps with an upgraded quarterback in Justin Fields. The offensive line had their ups and downs throughout camp. Darnell Wright had an amazing preseason game, but during camp, he definitely showed a lot. He showed why he is who the front office thought he was when they sought out to draft him and eventually actually did draft him. He did get beat a few times, so he's not going to be a perfect rookie. He did get beat by Rasheem Green quite a bit because Rasheem Green was matched up with him a lot throughout camp, and guys like DeMarcus Walker was injured, and Yannick Ngakoue came on late in the middle of camp. So overall, Darnell Wright, Braxton Jones, Tevin Jenkins, those guys looked pretty decent throughout camp. We had a bunch of question marks with the interior, with Nate Davis not practicing all the way up until the final 2 practices of camp. He was not in pads until the joint practices with the Indianapolis Colts. Center Cody Whitehair kind of had an up and down camp. He had a couple bad snaps. He is injured right now. It's a hand or finger injury. Hopefully it's nothing too serious, but I didn't hear him get beat an overwhelming amount of time. So again, hopefully he's just serviceable this season and is, at least a marginal upgrade over our center position last season. So overall, the offensive line, I'm excited to see how they play going into the season. During camp, they definitely looked way better unit than they did last year, and we at least know who the starters are. Backup Ja'Tyre Carter got a lot of valuable reps with injuries to Nate Davis and Lucas Patrick, so we got to see a lot out of him, and it's good to know that the Bears have a pretty decent depth guy in Ja'Tyre Carter who can play left guard or right guard need be this season. And then the running back room had a very strong camp. Khalil Herbert, D'Onta Foreman, Roschon Johnson, and even Trestan Ebner all had pretty good flashes throughout camp. Khalil Herbert was crowned running back 1 at the start, and he has shown no reason to give that up other than his lack of ability to pass block. But as far as running the rock, Khalil Herbert is the number 1 runner. D'Onta Foreman showed lots of flashes as well. He had a pretty huge 40-yard run during the joint practice with the Colts. Roschon Johnson started at the very bottom of the depth chart and climbed his way all the way up to getting first team reps. So that's great to hear that Roschon went from running back 5 to competing for running back 2. And Trestan Ebner, who is fighting for a roster spot, he was a draft pick by Ryan Poles last year. He had a bunch of flashes during camp as well. So the Bears have a nice three-headed monster at running back, very good depth as well after the three, because we also had Travis Homer, who had a pretty good camp. So it's going to be interesting to see how the running back room shakes out throughout the regular season and who gets the most play during the real games. The tight end room is very deep. It's one of the deepest tight end rooms the Bears have had in a long time. Cole Kmet showed out. He got paid. He's looking worth every single penny. Robert Tonyan as a backup tight end is looking very elite as a receiving tight end. Maybe not like Travis Kelce elite, but like he's looking like a top 10 receiving tight end. Maybe not top 10 all around because he can't really block. He's kind of a liability in the run game as far as being a blocking tight end, but as a receiving tight end, he's almost like having an extra wide receiver out on the field. And of course, the Bears signed Marcedes Lewis, who is an elite run blocker and pass blocker. So we have a pretty good backup receiving tight end and a very good backup blocking tight end. And Cole Kmet is a mix between both. He can block, he can catch, he can run routes, he can do it all. So feeling really good about the tight end room, and they showed a lot during camp. And last but certainly not least about the offense, Justin Fields. He had his ups, he had his downs, he had his interceptions, he had his moments where he looked shaky, but overall, this was Justin Fields' best camp, like clearly his best camp as a professional football player. Like, it's not even close. He was throwing touchdowns. He's looking more mature. He's getting the ball out quicker. He's commanding the huddle. He's going through his reads. He's taking what the defense gives him. He was completing checkdowns. He had some moments where he may have held the ball on too long, but overall, he was getting the ball out way faster than he was in previous years. He's been way more decisive. So overall, this was a great camp for Justin Fields, and the team definitely showed that they're going to make mistakes this year. They're not going to be perfect. It's not like the offense came out and didn't miss a single pass like prime Drew Brees during practice where he just tore his own defense apart. You know, it's still a young offense. It's still a young quarterback trying to find his way in the league as a passer, but the team put up points last year without having much help around Justin Fields, so I'm not concerned one bit. This team is going to be electric. You want to see that the big plays can pop off. You want to see that Fields can get the ball into his playmakers' hands, and that's exactly what they showed this training camp. Now, as far as the biggest offensive woes, it goes to the backup reserve guys. Backup quarterback PJ Walker absolutely stunk up camp. He was throwing interceptions basically every day. And it's crazy because he started out camp very strong. Like the first week, reporters were saying PJ Walker looked really, really good and they were impressed. I don't know what happened, but as soon as the pads come on, he just turned into an interception machine. So let's hope Justin Fields does not get hurt because PJ Walker I don't know. If camp is any indication of what he's going to do, we'll be in trouble. But like PJ Walker has put up numbers in the NFL. I mean, he played for the Panthers last year and was throwing dimes to DJ Moore. And, so hopefully worst case scenario, we don't want to see him play at all. We don't. But if he has to play, maybe he can be a little bit different once he gets into a real game. I don't know, but camp was just garbage for PJ Walker. Then Tyler Scott, rookie wide receiver, he caught the drops. Velus Jones caught the drops as well. They were fumble machines. Really sad to hear. I mean, Tyler Scott was muffing punts, he fumbled at one point. He was dropping passes. No, I'm sorry. Tyler Scott fumbled during the preseason game, but during camp, he's been dropping lots of passes. Velus Jones was dropping various passes. He did look a lot better than last year, from what I heard. He definitely had a lot of flashing moments where we did not hear any of that last year, but he still struggles to keep the ball in his hands, and he even muffed the punt during the first preseason game. So not good to hear that the two speedy wide receiver draft picks from Ryan Poles both have drop issues. So that wasn't too good. But other than that, not too much to complain about on the offensive side of the ball. So flipping over to the defensive side of the ball, that unit is absolutely energetic and electric. As far as injuries go, the defense got a lot more banged up than the offense, but I'm persistent on listening to Matt Eberflus, who said that nothing is super serious, otherwise they would have mentioned it. Eddie Jackson and Jaquan Brisker, they held it down in the secondary. Every single player in the secondary got an interception, every starter at least. Guys, Kyler Gordon, Jalen Johnson, rookie Tariq Stevenson, everybody got an interception at some point. So the secondary absolutely balled out. Again, I think Kyler Gordon is primed for a breakout season. He looks like he's going to be a superstar in the NFL. I'm not even joking. If I had to pick one huge breakout candidate on the team, it would be Kyler Gordon. I would say the same for Jaquan Brisker. The only thing is he's been injured for a little bit, and this is the second year where Jaquan Brisker was injured during camp. And in my video I was talking about him a few weeks ago, I said he's just got to stay healthy, and so far he hasn't. So hopefully he can get healthy again, but when he is healthy, he's going to be a young superstar as well. The linebacker unit, extremely deep. I did not hear too much about them throughout camp. Maybe that's just reporters aren't really paying attention to linebackers during camp. I don't know, but I heard they did good, but again, I didn't really hear too much other than rookie Noah Sewell had a pretty good showing throughout camp. The defensive line, so much to talk about there. So much excitement on the young defensive line. I mean, they showcased it in the first preseason game with 8 sacks against the backups for the Tennessee Titans. We don't know how they're going to look against the starting unit yet. Yannick Ngakoue and DeMarcus Walker, I mean, it's yet to be seen. DeMarcus Walker was hurt the whole time throughout camp. Early on, DeMarcus Walker was the most energetic player on the field, either him or Jaquan Brisker, but DeMarcus Walker is extremely vocal. He's very energetic, so at the very least, he's going to bring energy. Yannick Ngakoue, I have not heard of anything from him throughout camp. He's only been here for like a week and a half, something like that. He hasn't really practiced too much to be noteworthy. But guys like Terrell Lewis showed up all throughout camp. Rasheem Green, I heard his name all throughout camp. DeAnthony Jones, the UDFA edge rusher, he had a pretty good showing. It's yet to be seen if he's actually going to make the team. However, Travis Gibson had an up and down camp. He got a lot better towards the end once they came out with the depth chart and showed he was at the bottom of it. So hopefully Travis Gibson can get his swagger back and get it going. But as far as camp goes, the top guys on the edge was definitely Terrell Lewis, Rasheem Green, and DeMarcus Walker early on. And as far as the interior goes, Andrew Billings had an absolute stellar camp. Every single practice he was getting pressure. Every single practice he was getting run stuffs. He's one strong human being, so I'm excited to see Andrew Billings stuffing the offensive line this season. Justin Jones, I didn't really hear too much about throughout camp. Rookies Gervon Dexter and Zach Pickens, they definitely had up and down camps as well, but I love the highlights. I love hearing the good spots, the flashes. Those are the things you want to hear out of young guys. Whenever they went up against the second team offensive line, it was easy. Gervon Dexter was getting pressure all practice long whenever he faced backups. But as far as like technique goes, I did hear he was a little bit slow at times, and he plays with a very high pad level, and that kind of translated into the preseason game. So that's something they got to clean up. But as far as their camp went, I'm impressed with the young guys. So overall, the defense had a very great camp. And it's crazy because Justin Fields in the offense had a great camp as well, but the defense also had a great camp. Like it's crazy to say that both sides of the ball had great camps. Defense would win one day, offense would win one day. Sometimes when Justin Fields wasn't doing good and the defense was winning, Fields would still find a way to get the ball into DJ Moore's hands or his tight end's hands or scramble, so forth and so on. So the team was very competitive all throughout training camp. And how can you not be excited about this season when you hear just how energetic this young team was all throughout camp? So that's about it. That's a wrap for all of my training camp updates. Cannot wait until the season starts. In tomorrow's preseason game, the Bears are not playing Justin Fields and most of the starters. They'll all be out. I'm not sure which select starters will still play, probably the rookies, but for the most part, all of the starters will be out tomorrow. If you didn't watch it already, check out my video that I dropped this morning where I went over tomorrow's preseason game and what to expect more specifically. If you enjoy these videos I'm bringing you guys, feel free to subscribe, drop a like, and drop a comment to let me know how you guys are feeling about the Bears right now, how you felt about camp overall. How do you feel? Good? Do you feel confident? Are you excited? Are you worried? How do you feel about camp? Drop a comment. Go ahead and click on my preseason preview from this morning, and I'll see you guys there.